So thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
coming to my meeting and for being with me. It's actually amazing to be able to do something with people to support you and to do things. And I don't think that I would have been doing this project or anything. In fact, I had no intention of doing a project before people showed me how to do a project. So it's actually been an amazing thing. So thank you for your support and everything. And I wanted to do this because I think that it's important to catch up, to have a specific time to actually really calmly look through goals and assess ongoing strategies. So I wanted to do this to put forward my place and where I am at with my project, but I also would very much like to hear from other people where they're at so that I can also know how I can give back into the community, because that's really important to me. Yeah. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the shift in focus to Caught in the Crossfire. And of course you, Otter, have been a significant part of me being able to make that dream a sort of a reality, maybe not a reality, but somewhere that it could be a reality. So yeah, it's something deeply personal to me, and it's related to Carly's death and to my mother's grief and her recovery from her grief. And it's also, I think, related to her death for me, is that I know that I am going to face her death and I'm not going to be ready for it. And so this is sort of almost setting myself up to have something to work through that with, in the same way that she worked through hers with Carly. So as with everything that's bobbing along, it's intensely personal and private and subjective. And yeah, so it's grounded in the idea that we work through our issues. We find a project and we work through our issues by working through our project. And it's been wonderful, I think, being in this community, in that I have been able to practice all these skills doing Dude, Where's My Wallet? It's so surprising to me as I look back, as we were talking about how you live forward but you understand by looking backwards. And I had no idea that I was wanting to be an editor or make movies. I saw other people doing it, but so it's great to be able to practice my skills. By doing this, by shifting my focus like this, I have opened 2 new channels on MintMe. The one which is the Caught in the Crossfire channel, and the other which is the Ashes channel. Both of those, they are undeployed tokens, and so they're almost just what Satori calls buckets, just places to hold different ideas, separate from other ideas. Ashes is mostly because I want to respond to Embers and Minds Gaming in a separate thread, and Caught in the Crossfire, of course, is for that related content. Also thinking that it will be interesting to deploy another token, but I want to build up to it. This token, the Bob W, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. These other tokens, I would like to be more of an active participant in what I'm doing and build it more intentionally, in the same way that I see Minds Gaming and Satori D building their new channels, the Embers and the Dreams and those ones. And then, of course, the implications of the choice of this book is that we could actually make a comment about something that's really important to me, which are the politics of the current day, and to be able to put a point of view across in a sort of a semi-educational way. So we've talked about collateral damage of war, we've talked about the disease, asymmetrical or terrorist warfare, and for me, the crux of it is that the German Red Cross that went out to support and help the Boer army were civilians who funded their own outreach. And I strongly feel that this is the way we build communities and change countries and change the world, is by getting involved at a citizen's level. All right, so I feel that's sort of consistent with everything that Bobbing and Long stands for and why it's become so central to that. Then, of course, I have the bounties that I've done, which I was just wanting to make the community more aware of the fact that I had withdrawn those bounties for a couple of months, and I just wanted to just say I've reinstated them, and that's been done. And thank you, Otto, for your morning bounty, and Dude, Where's My Wallet for the voiceover acting, which is just a fun thing, I think. Icing on the cake once, and also thank everybody who has bought the My Token Shop item for supporting me for doing the editing of Dude, Where's My Wallet? Because it's benefited me so much personally. And then for people to actually contribute towards my own self education is great. Yeah, and so then my next thing was to call on Otto to talk about community building.
I look at all of the different media that we use as artists, the different, artistic modes we employ, music, poetry, videography, the written word, the spoken word. And the one thing with this technology, and some of us are higher tech than others, some of us, such as myself, are rather low tech, but the one aspect of this technology that really gives us power is its ability to allow us to communicate. It still comes down to the human being. All the technology in the world is wonderful, but it needs a human mind to make it count. And I, again, being old, think of the metaphor of a book. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine who was a religious gentleman, and we were talking about book burning and people burning the Bible and Quran and things like that. And, my point was that the book, the Bible, whatever you want to call it, it's just paper and ink. There's nothing there really. It's just an object until it's opened up and a human eye can read the words, understand them, and mind comes in, and then suddenly you have something happening. And in a more immediate, that's a kind of communication. Robert Anton Wilson used to call it time binding. Where you can communicate with someone centuries, thousands of years later. We can read these tablets from Mesopotamia, and we are, in a sense, in communication with people. We're hearing words that people were saying so long ago, reading them, understanding them. With the internet, we can exchange these ideas and these words in real time, no matter where we are on the planet, no matter what our other projects are. So that's an important aspect of our ability to build a community. And I think one thing that occurred to me, and of course, I think my forte seems to be turning out to be the spoken word. Most of what I produce has to do with communication, talking with people, commenting on things. So one way I think we can build our community is to start communicating more, because a community needs communication. This is how we have communion. And we commune through our communication and thus build our community. And so I was thinking along the lines of, and we've been kind of working on this, is having more conversations between us. And we've been posting, we've talked to Mike and Story. I want to talk to Within again. I've got some plans. And I think it would be really nice for us to talk about our art, our specific work that we're doing, but also talk about how it can relate to the other people in the group and with just other media and genres in general. And of course, we'll each be able to give our own ideas of like how it's affected our own work. And there are a lot, there's a certain amount of overlap, but there's a lot more of what I like to call throwing the pebble into the pond. You throw the pebble into the pond and you get the little ripples, and the pebble is only directly interacting in one place, but it causes ripples, and other people throw in pebbles, the ripples interact, and you get some really wonderful scintillating sunlight on the surface of the water. So let's scintillate if we can.
Otto, that's wonderful. Thank you very, very, very much. All right. So basically, that's all I had, really. Just to end with thank you for the opportunity to share what I'm doing. And thank you for your attendance. And please feel free to put up more bounties and to advertise your bounties and for us to get that, to do as much as we can to get a robust ecosystem going. Because I think what you say, yes, I totally agree with you, Otto. That to talk to each other more, that's one of my big weaknesses, and something that I've really made a focus of doing bobbing along is to talk. Um, but this reward for interaction, I think, is something that we could really, really, there's room for more of it. So that's my final thought, is to spend this next month making more bounties, thinking up more bounties, and trying to actively seek out other people's bounties and participate in them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to get some more bounties going too. And we talked about that earlier. I mean, I think my approach is more like I put up the bounty for meditation, and in the dream blocks, when we were playing around with that, I come up with a bounty about going to a local art museum or something like that. So I think maybe what I'm trying to do is help people expand their aesthetic sense, or at least pay attention to it. It's very rarely that we have any kind of impetus or even the thought. I live just, I don't know, 5-minute walk through one of the larger art museums in the northeastern United States. And I very rarely think of going there, but it's nice to be reminded once in a while, oh, gee. So something like a token reward might just, I mean, obviously, I'm not, you're not getting paid like, something, but it's something to encourage you and make you think about that, interrupt the old patterns of thought. That's one of the best things that art offers us, is an ability to break out of the molds, the habits of our thought, which really put us to sleep with their repetition. So yeah, I'm going to be putting up some bounties about that. And again, and this I think also comes under the heading of community building. So I think these bounties have a lot of potential to help people along.
Awesome. Well, that was an excellent, excellent meeting. I think I covered everything that I wanted to say. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I will be back again next week, next month, to do this again. And we'll review once again the progress and what's worked and what hasn't. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for an awesome meeting, and see you again next month. And I declare the meeting closed. Thank you. Bye.